Hey guys, welcome back to Boost Hunter Garage. Today we're going to be getting on just a few little things on the White Whale here, my '07. A little while ago I just redid basically the whole power steering system other than the gearbox. And now I'm starting to notice there is a drip on the driveway. So I kind of cleaned it off because it's hard to tell where it was coming from. I believe it is leaking between the reservoir tank and the pump. So we're going to try draw the fluid out of the reservoir tank, hopefully pull it off, see if we can tell that's where it's coming from. Either try fix the O-ring, add an O-ring, or possibly just put some RTV on there and seal her back up to fix that up. Gonna flush or drain all the fluid out of the transfer case and just put some new fluid in there. And then the other thing is my back driver's side door. The window doesn't want to work. I kind of temporarily fixed it before. It wasn't a very good job. And this is something I've had an issue with other Dodge trucks I've had. Basically, the wires end up breaking inside the boot that's between the door just from it flexing and stuff. So we're going to get that fixed up. It's a scorching hot one out there today. So I'm trying to hide in the garage here, but we'll get outside and get to trying to fix some of these things. So as you can see, we got power steering fluid all over. At first, I thought it was coming out here, but after I cleaned it, and now you can kind of, I don't know how well on the camera, I'll try to hold it up here, but on the bottom of the reservoir there, kind of right by where you see the bolt where it attaches to the pump, seems like there's a lot of fluid kind of right there, so I think that's what's leaking. So we'll go ahead, draw the fluid out, unbolt that, and see if we can seal that back up. As you can see, we got the fluid out and the reservoir just unbolted. There are just two bolts holding it, and hopefully you can see there. It does have an O-ring, but it's pretty thin, kind of dinky little O-ring. And I'm pretty sure that's where it's leaking from what I can tell. So I have this just kit of O-rings, and this one's about similar in size, but it does look a little thicker. So I'm thinking I'm just going to pull that one off and put this on. I thought about doubling up, but that might cause more issues. So I think I'll pull that one off, put this one on because it's a little bit thicker, and just so I don't have to do this again, I might just put a tiny bit of RTV around it just to seal it up because I really don't want to pull it off again. So I'll get it all wiped up and get this put on, a little bit of RTV around it, and we'll pop that back on, and hopefully that solves our leaking issue. All right, so we got her back on there, a little bit of RTV, the new O-ring. Just gonna top her up with some fresh fluid here. And then probably once we're done today's fixes, I'm just gonna go and I need to wash the truck anyways. So I'll get that area cleaned up really good, and then we can kind of keep an eye on if that was our actual leak, which I do believe it was, and if we fixed it up. So hopefully that's it, and we'll move on to the next task here. All right, so now on to draining the fluid out of the transfer case here. Mine had the skid plate on it, which is just 4 13 mil bolts underneath here. Some guys will have that. Lots of guys I've noticed don't put that back on, depending where you kind of use your truck. But anyways, we'll go ahead. Obviously, it's your drain plug here and your fill here. We'll take both of them out just so it drains better. This, from what I found, is just a number 10 Allen. I unfortunately only had Allen keys to do it, which is a little tougher. I didn't have the actual socket to put on a ratchet. It would make it a lot nicer to pop those off. But anyways, we'll get those off. The truck's on the driveway, so we're on a bit of an angle, so it'll drain nicely. But we'll just have to take into account when we go to fill. Obviously, with the bit of the angle, not that we're on a crazy angle, because we're just going to fill till we hit here. It could be a little bit off, so I'll probably fill it all the way, and then I'll just take it out onto the road where it's flat and just check it or add a little bit. So let's get this drained out. Okay, so now that we got it all drained there, and you can see the fluid was pretty dark, so it was definitely in need of a change. So I just got a jug of just ATF here, nothing fancy. This is just some cheap stuff that I had sitting around. I believe you'll need about 2.5 quarts, and we roughly have that. So if not, I just got another thing of ATF over here. Yeah, it's not the same stuff, but I'm not too worried when it's in the transfer case. I probably definitely wouldn't mix in your transmission. And then I just got this threaded on the top, just this cheap little thing I bought at the store. Hopefully this will work, just a little flexible, just threads onto the jug. And hopefully we can get it up in here and fill it half decently without making a mess. You know, these things are always a pain, maybe not quite as much as doing your diffs. But yeah, we'll get it filled up, and I'm basically just going to fill it till it wants to come out of here. Like I said earlier, we're on a bit of an angle, so I might have to back it down onto the flat road and just top it up a tiny bit more, but we'll get her filled up here. So there we go. Obviously it's full and it's draining a bit. I'm just going to go ahead, throw the plug in it, obviously clean this up and throw the skid plate back on. Later on I will back this down on the road and make sure that it's full all the way. I'm sure it's going to be pretty close because this driveway is not super steep. So, but yeah, there we have it. It's pretty simple to do, obviously. Pretty straightforward. Drain and fill her back up. So yeah, that, from what I could tell, that was about 2.5 quarts roughly that we put in there. So all right, so now on to this back window that doesn't want to operate, and this is something I've had happen a few times on some Dodge trucks, and it's always been the back doors for some reason. And I've had where the locks don't want to work, but this one, it's just the window does not want to roll up and down, and so it just breaks. I've cut this boot open and then used these just crappy butt connectors, but obviously they did not work because it's moving around. You can see other wires here are broke. So what I'm gonna do is pop this door panel off, which is pretty easy. I believe it's just a 10 mil in here to take the handle off, and just a Phillips there, take that out, and then you kind of just lift up on the door panel and pull it off. So I'll take that off, and then I'm gonna take this inner panel off. I'm not 100% sure, I need to double check, but I think you just pull these plugs out. There'll be some screws in there, bolts, and I believe this pulls off. So we'll get that off, and then all I'm gonna do is just because it's too tight in here to use, I got some new connectors that are have the solder already in them, and you shrink them on. It'll be too tight in here, obviously, with this bending too. So we're just gonna trace these wires back to in here, cut it back here where I can make a good connection. We'll put a fresh piece of wire all the way through, and then obviously on this side, same thing, cut it and put a new connector over here so that this is done nicely and functioning again. So yeah, we'll go ahead, get these panels off and get to putting those wires in there. Okay, so we got the door panel off. I end up just pulling this speaker out of here just to gain better access, because as you see, there's not a ton of space to work here, so it allows me to reach down in here and get at it. We got this inner panel off, and yeah, it was just two 10 mils on your handle there, and then you pop the cover off the top of your seat belt here, and it is a Torx that you take out of there, and then basically it's just a bunch of pressure clips. You got to pull the top cover off to get this lower one off. And then what I end up finding, I thought the wires just fed through and came through over here, but basically, where is it here? It's a plug on the inside which plugs into this, and I've just popped this out of here now. So it's not the easiest to get at, but I've just kind of pulled this boot back, and I think that's what I'm going to do. is just so without, I was debating cutting this off and just putting loom, but I want to seal this up just for the case of possibly getting water in there. So I'll clip the ones that are garbage and pull them back out this way, and I'll put the connector on with probably an over length of wire, feed it through here, and we'll get it over to here and find our spot to reconnect it up. Obviously I'm not going to have the right exact same colors, but I'm just going to have to make sure I keep track of them right, and we'll just fix up all the ones that are cracked, and obviously the ones that I have these crappy kind of butt connectors on. So I thought I'd just show you that, and then it's kind of tough to show as I'm doing this, so I'll just get this wire around and kind of show you the connectors I'm using after and see how it works. There we go, got all those fished in there. You can kind of see some of them there. And any of the wires that I found that were slightly broke, which happened to be slightly cracked, were the speaker wires. So these ones I just kind of cut it here. I could see it to make it easier, because it was tough to obviously work on this in here. I was just using these, I got these off Amazon. I was using them on my other truck there, where they got the solder in them, and they just heat them and shrink them down. And I just use a little bit of heat shrink, especially on all the group of wires here. I kind of just grouped them all together, heat shrunk them together, so they'd be hopefully a little stronger in there, and then I just tape this all up. So now it's working, happy with that. I think I'm just gonna end this video off now. I'm just gonna put this all back together. So thanks a lot for watching. Hopefully some of this was helpful, and I'll catch you on the next video.